Inventory report. Nope. I saw the lack of credit, and I was like, oh shit, that's the next one to do. Nope. Alphabetizer. Oh shit. I mean, I guess it's possible. Yeah, we're gonna have to do sorting. Not sorting. The sorting was the scary thing. Please be advised, this optional hallway is for advanced employees only. Bzz, bzz. Yes, indeed. Goodbye. Click. Incoming message. You will receive 2 words. One is a decoy, a false lead, a red herring. The other is part of an important message. Okay. Yes. Facilities management has left some useful numbers over there on the floor for you. They were just here. Did you see them pass you in the elevator? You don't really pass people in an elevator. You're kind of stuck with each other. It's not a hallway. I guess they could have been leaving when I got in on a different floor? But if an elevator just passes you, then, you know. In the inbox contains exactly 2 words. Determine which word comes first if you were to order them alphabetically. And send only that word to the outbox. Oof. Alright, I'm scared. Ha 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 ha. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to, like, put everything from the inbox on the board. And I'm gonna have to have I'm gonna have to have a variable that tracks where the second word begins. I'm basically gonna have to track where the 0 is in that sequence, so that I can then parse the strings individually, and then compare alphabetically the letters digit by digit. Because as you can tell, they're both gonna start with U at the very least. That much is gonna happen. Oh boy. So let's just start with figuring out the loop we're gonna do to even get this started. 0 and 10. Why do I want 10? Oh, that makes some sense. I get it. They're suggesting that, hey, the word's probably 10 letters or less, right? Put the first word on 0 and the second word on 10. That makes some sense, yeah. That means I don't have to track where the word starts, because I can just make it start at 10. So they gave me that. Cool. Meow. Meow. That doesn't actually make sense, does it? To have a slash through the 0? Whatever. That's actually probably more accurate in some way. I don't know. The important thing is I'm just labeling them so that they'll make more sense here, because otherwise that's going to be call 22 and 24, so it makes more sense to be able to quote them more directly. Okay, so yay. So we're going to start with load. I'm just gonna say load. I was gonna say load words, but that's not gonna fit. So this is our loading part of the algorithm. We'll call this, it's kind of like this boot sequence is probably not the right thing to call it, but it's just the intro part. And then we have to alphabetize it later. So that'll come later. Much later, probably. Alright, so we're not really ready to do inbox right away either, are we? Call you digit? We could have called it step, like I used to, I guess. It doesn't really matter. It's arbitrary. The important thing, I had this problem when I was doing Java too, is I wouldn't always default to the same variables from program to program as for my names, which is probably a bad practice. So we're going to... No. We're going to copy from 0, copy to digit. There we go. So that's going to make that 0. So now we're going to do inbox and we're gonna copy to digit, and that's how we're gonna parse the word. We're gonna go to the inbox, copy to digit, then we're gonna bump up digit, and then I think we're just gonna loop that, and that's gonna keep going until the thing in the inbox is a 0. So then we need to do a jump if 0 at the inbox. Word 2 is what I'm going to call that part. So we've now reached word 2, where we're going to now copy from 10, copy to digit. Same thing as before, but now we're starting at 10. And now do the same thing, I think. Inbox, copy to digit in brackets, and then bump up digit. I didn't do that correctly. There we go. It was set to bump up the 0 digit. That doesn't work. All right. So copy to digit, bump digit, which means that we'll then jump back and copy. See, that was, I set that, yeah, right before inbox. That makes sense. Oops. The same thing, more or less. So now we will have placed both words. That's good. Yeah, copy to the location of digit, then bump up digit, so that next you grab the inbox and put it in the next one. That should work fine. Let's just test that much. Then we can deal with whether or not the alphabetic works. Cool. There we go. So yeah, that works. I haven't added the jump if 0 yet, but that's fine. So jump if 0. There we go. I feel weird about making programs like this. This program will not work indefinitely. There's a distinction to make about some of the programs I get and some of the programs I make and the other programs I make, which is that some of these ones will work no matter how long the input is. Some of them will just keep doing whatever the thing is and it will always work. But this is a weird sloppy one, where it just assumes I only have 2 words. So I'm only building out the sequence for word 1 and word 2, which it feels like a bad practice, but as it's possible that this could work in a larger program where it itself is a module. I think of the previous sorting programs we made before, where we'd get 2 things and compare them. In those ones, you could that could lead to a situation where you're having an input of 2 strings, so you'd have to format you're like that'd be a part of a larger sorting algorithm, where like when I was doing the sort 3, for example, I was comparing the thing A, B, and C to each other. In that kind of situation, that program could send its input to here when it's comparing 2 things with each other, and then this program would compare the 2 things to each other and then output its result to the previous program, and then that program can make larger decisions. And on that scale, it would be able to deal with having more input, I suppose. But yeah, I feel weird making something. I feel weird when I'm supposed to make something it's like you will get exactly 2 words. It's like a really limited use case on some level. All right, so now I have both words, and now I need to figure out how I'm going to alphabetize between the 2 of them. I think I can work with this. First of all, let's copy from 0. No. Yes, no, kind of. So what I should be doing is, D0, D10. This change I'm making right here is not necessarily necessary, but I'm going to make that change for the sake of consistency, I suppose. So I need to have a separate variable for the two words, basically, because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to count digit by digit through both of them at once. So I've got to have that set up. So first we're going to copy from 0, copy to D0, copy from D10, copy to D10, because I do need to start these over, because we have to start from the beginning of the word in order to alphabetize them. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the 0 digit and the 10 digit to each other via subtraction, because they're both letters, so that'll work. And then I need to do two different outputs, basically. No, like 3 different outputs. And this is going to loop. This part's going to be a loop. I'm going to compare whether it's positive, negative, or 0. If it is 0, then that means that the same letter, so we move on to the next letter. If it's negative or positive, that means that one of them is higher than the other one alphabetically, and that means that we're going to move forward to output, which is going to be its whole other sequence later. So we'll just put that there for now as a reminder, because yeah, if I get anything other than 0, then we have to go back. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So we're going to... this is going to be interesting. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to... Let's do copy from... I can't click that. I have to click this one. D0. So we're copying from this one. And we're going to subtract D10. And then... Let's see. So this is a no man's land where no one can access that unless it loops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if 0, loop back to before where we landed here. And here I can bump up both of these. Bump up. There we go. That bumps up D0 and D10. That D bothers me. Let's give it a little bit of a Disney D, just a little bit, just to give us something. It looked like a P otherwise. So I'm going to subtract the first digit from between the two words, and if it's 0, then we're going to loop back around. I'm going to bump up both of these, and now we'll be copying from. I'm going to have to have another jump, aren't I? Awkward. We don't want to make these 0 again. There we go. Yeah, that adds to my inefficiencies, because every time you do a jump, that in itself counts as a line. So that adds to my command count, so that's not great. But yeah, I have to skip over this because this sets them back to being 0. I almost made that mistake again. Whoops. Is it more efficient to switch these two, jump-wise? It doesn't really matter. It's going to be the same amount of inefficiency, or I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but it'll have to, I think it'll have the same number of steps either way. So yeah, it'll jump back, bump these both up, so now that's going to be 1 and 11, and then it's going to copy from D0's goal, which is now 1, and subtract 11, and once again it'll jump back of 0. Okay, so we've taken care of their equal situation. Now we need to take care of the both outcomes if they're not equal, which is I need to make it clear which one is which. Oh man. Does that mean that I have to... I don't want to write 2 outputs, that would suck. I don't have to write 2 outputs though, do I? No. Let's just call this one A, which is to indicate the beginning of the alphabet. This is going to be my variable that tells me who the winner is. There we go. That'll be simpler. Because I was thinking about the output sequence of, you know, grabbing every individual thing and putting it in the outbox to output that string. I didn't want to write that twice for both winners at the end of two separate jump sequences. So instead what I'll do is when I figure out which one's the winner, I'll just put D0, I'll just put 0 or 10 in A, and that'll become the new digit. I could have put it here or here, but I just don't want to confuse. I'd rather create a new variable that means something else, and just so I can better parse what I'm talking about than to reuse an old term. Because yeah, once you're at that point, these don't necessarily matter as much, and they're not going to do anything at that point, so I could just overwrite them, but that efficiency only makes it more confusing to talk about the equation, so I'd rather not. Alright, so let's do jump if negative. So jump if negative. Let's mark this as being not equal. Or not equal. Exclamation point, equal sign. I think that's what it was, yeah. More or less. Okay, so this, we reached the not equal part. We're gonna do a jump if negative and also... Alright, so first let's do the positive. Because above here, above the jump if negative, we'll do the positive. Below the jump if negative, we'll do the negative. Alright, so we are subtracting... We're copying 0 and subtracting 10. If it's positive, that means that 0 was bigger. That means word 1 is the biggie game. Okay. So word 1 is the correct one. That means we're going to copy from 0, copy to A. And then we're going to jump to the output. And now if it's negative, that means that D10 was bigger. So we're going to copy from 10, copy to A. So now A tells me what the winning word is. And so now I'm just going to output A, basically. I think I see a problem. Let's get the basics done first, but I think I'm in trouble here. Let's do copy from A, bump A. Sorry, we've got to output first. So copy from A, which might be 0, might be 10, and then we're going to outbox that as the first thing, first letter of the word. Then we're going to bump A, which makes it go up a digit, which means we're going to loop out, and that more or less ends the problem. I think the game's gonna freak out when I run out of word. I don't think that the program ends itself correctly, but I'm just gonna casually drink a coffee and see if everything worked until now. That was louder than I meant for it to be, sorry. What just happened? I think something went wrong during alphabetization. Oh wow, yeah, you and I. They really were a dick about it, weren't they? Okay, so we're comparing... We go to digit 2. Go to digit 2, we can subtract with 12. There's currently 0. Now... D3 equals 10, 3, yeah. They both go up by a digit. So now we're going to compare 3 and 13. 0. Oh no, it's a -5. Time to do jump if negative, where something must have gone wrong, I guess. Let's see. Oh, did I get them backwards? First of all, yeah, did I get them backwards? Educate. T is a bigger number. T is a bigger number, but it's later in the alphabet. But jump if negative copies from 10? Okay, so those are both backwards, first of all. Whoops. My alphabetization's backwards. Because I think I was thinking of like the... I think I was thinking in terms of like, in the back of my head, like the idea that like the sooner in the alphabet one is like the winner. And so I was associating that with having a larger number, which is the exact opposite of what it has. That's not where the equation went wrong though. But I did realize while I was testing that unzip. I just realized that while I was testing that that it was going to be wrong anyway. Because something's making it not output correctly either. Oh, you idiot. You didn't loop it. God damn it. God damn it. I didn't loop the output, so it didn't finish in the first place. That's not even the problem I was anticipating. I was waiting to see it mess up at, closing itself off. Like, what does it do when it runs out of stuff to do? Empty value. You can't copy from an empty tile on the floor. Try adding something to that tile first. Yeah. Okay, so that is what happens. First of all, unite, unity, unite. Okay, so it's alphabetizing correctly. So now I just need to close the program correctly. I need to tell it how to stop. Not a big deal. I think I just need to add... I think I need to add a 0 to the end of the strings, basically. That doesn't exist already, so that I can tell when they're over. So... we're going to... First of all, we're going to do an if 0 here. So it's going to copy from the goal of A, and... if negative... No, sorry, not... if 0, just... stop. Just don't stop trying to do other things, basically. And then the program will just stop, I believe. I think that's how that works, actually. So, if what it gets from A is 0, then it'll stop. Which should then be pointing to the digit that's after the current word. So now what I need to do is I need to place the 0 in the first place. See, where did I leave off my D0 and D10? So, subtract D10. I was bumping them back here. One potential thing I can do is I can just add a 0 now. Yeah. So copy from 0, copy to A. Let's do bump D0. And then copy from 0, copy to the goal of D0. That should put a 0 at the end of the string. I just gotta do that for the other one now. So bump D10. Copy from 0. Copy to bracket D10. Those match? Think so. So now that'll add a 0 to the end of the string if I did that right. So now the program should know when to stop. Okay, nope, that's not a good fix. Right, because it doesn't, yep. It doesn't process the whole word when it's alphabetizing, it just keeps going until it confirms that they're not alphabetic. So once it has its answer, it stops. So I can't put the 0, yeah, I can't put the 0 at that spot. That doesn't work that way. No. I have to place the 0 when I'm placing them in the first place, so that was a mistake. Boy, now I have to remove the correct spots here. Let's see. It was just these 3, right? bump D10, copy from 0. Yeah. I had the right idea. I'm putting it in the wrong spot. I should have put it here when I'm making the two words. So it goes to the inbox and it'll do jump if 0. But before I do jump if 0 past that far, let's finish off this word. So what we'll do is we will now... We're gonna bump D0 again. And then we're going to copy from 0. Copy to bracket D0. So now when it's placing the word in the first place, when it's finished, it'll do that. Then it goes from there to word 2. And there's the jump if 0. I just have to make sure we're in the right part of this sequence. Oh boy. Where's the safe spot to do this in? I made this complicated. I think I can slip them right in here. Which is an awkward place, because it's part of the ABC part, so it's like, it's not the correct part of the code, so if I have to bug test it later, then I won't be able to find it correctly, but that's where the jump currently takes me. The alternative would be to jump it here, add it here, and then jump again, just so it's more clear, which I think I would actually prefer to do. I'm gonna do that, even though it doesn't make a ton of sense, but I don't want to put it in the alphabetic part of the formula because it's not where it belongs and it's confusing. So what we're going to do is we're going to bump D10. No. D10. And we're going to copy from 0. And we're going to copy to D0. D10, I mean. Yeah, D0, 0, D0, D10, 0, D10. I think I fixed it. Let's find out. All that to add a 0 to the end of the word. How did the 0 get there? That's not what I wanted it to be. Okay. I can fix that. That's not a big deal. I miscalculated how many bumps there were. Yeah, I guess it's bumping before it jumps back, so it doesn't need to be bumped again. Fine. It just reduces how many instructions I need. Yeah, the zero is being placed one after a blank. There we go. Cross-compare that shit! Why? Why does that mean? Also, I just got a glorious failure achievement. What does that mean? Hang on a minute. I gotta go get sidetracked for a second. Glorious failure. Solution not robust. Solve a puzzle for a specific set of inputs while still failing with other possible inputs. Oh, that's so interesting. That's interesting. That's just never happened until now, I guess. Where the game tells me that, hey, by the way, there's other inputs where your solution fails. Yeah, it makes sense because they tell me my average number of inputs or average number of steps that are involved in the solution, so that means that they would have to be testing stuff like that, but I didn't know it actually. Yeah, okay. I was wondering about that, like, could you brute force something to just make a particular string work, and would that let you win? And it's good to know that they test past that. Aha! Your solution works with those specific inputs, but it fails in other possible inputs. Yes. Here, I'll give you some inputs that cause your solution to fail, so you can see for yourself. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know what would cause it to fail, so I'm curious now. Okay, are these the ones that are going to cause it to fail? Oh... I have to account for... Okay. You're being a dick. Yep. What the fuck are you saying? You can't sub with mixed operands? Oh, you're just saying I can't subtract between a number and a letter, right? Yeah, okay, I understand. I understand what's going on here. I understand what's going on here. Oh boy, so I have to come up with a whole new problem now, which is what happens when the words are different lengths. And otherwise, that's a real specific fringe case. Not that specific. I mean, it's the first thing you see when you open a dictionary is you see words that you'll see a word, and then right after that you see a word that's longer but was otherwise the same word until it got more letters. So it's not a crazy fringe thing, but it's yeah, this is a real specific thing to program for now. So I gotta deal with the situation where the words are the same up until one of them just stops. Okay. That's not crazy. That means I have to do a jump if... oh, yeah, we're good. I'm placing a 0 at the end of each word. So since I'm already putting a 0 there, all I have to do is, when I'm alphabetizing, do a check if 0. Huh. That raises one problem. Yeah. The problem with alphabetizing is I'm only picking up a letter from one word and subtracting the other one. So I can do a check of 0 for the first word because I'm holding the letter. But I can't do a check of 0 for the second word. So I think oh Jesus, yeah, that I have to manually check both of them then. When I'm alphabetizing, yeah. Where's the primary? Yeah, copy from D0, sub D0. Here what I need to do is I need to check them against each other. So we're going to copy from D10 and then do an if 0. Let's let that sit here for a second because I gotta process what that's gonna do. And then I'm gonna do another if 0 here. So when I'm doing the sequence, we're gonna copy from D10 first because this doesn't break the program. I was already doing copy from D0, so if I do copy from D10 first, I'm only adding one additional step where he just picks it up for a second to check. Then he goes and he picks up D0 like he normally was, and the program continues as normal. But now I've got these escapes for what happens if one of them is shorter than the other one. I gotta think about this one. I'm not really used to thinking about alphabetization in these kinds of rules. I believe the rule is that if two words are identical digit by digit alphabetically, the shorter word is first alphabetically. So if D10 is a 0, then that means D10 is a shorter word. So we're just gonna jump. Yeah, copy, go grab 10 and put it on A. Yeah. And then if D0 is this, if D0 is where the 0 is, then we're gonna copy from 0 and put that on A. There we go. So I was worried it was gonna be a big change, but all I had to do was to add 2 jump if 0s to the sequence basically. And that makes it so that if we reach the end of the word, it just makes the call of like which one of them is first alphabetically based on the duration, because they've been identical till then. I think I fixed it. We're gonna find out because they gave me an output that will break it otherwise. Correct? Yeah, this is fun. This is doofy. Alright. Hey, not that far off. Little inefficiencies, probably with my jumps and whatnot. At this point, I'd probably say this series might be a bit of an experiment. We'll just see what whether the audience likes it or not, and that might affect to an extent how much I do them in the future. Because I could do some programming games in the future, maybe. Most likely, the most likely obvious one would be 7 Billion Humans, because they made a sequel to this game. I don't know about other ones, though. Some of them are pretty crazy. But really, it kind of depends on just how much I like them and how much people actually want to see them. Those two things. Because if this tanks, then I'm going to be... Then I might still play 7 Billion Humans, even if this tanks, but then I might stop, because, you know, no reason to go diving into a genre if nobody is a fan of watching said genre.